I just wanna go out on a walk with you.
Welcome back,
Baby,
beautiful,
you know I just
beautiful friend, precious one. Thank you for returning. Thank you for popping me in your ears or playing me wherever you are right now. Maybe you're driving back from work, or maybe you're driving to work, or maybe you're doing the dishes or going for a walk in this beautiful fall weather. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I just really desire to express my gratitude that brings tears to my eyes. There's so much that you could be doing right now, and here you are with me. Thank you. I want to remind you that I am sharing my experience in this earth school. You do not need to agree with any of it. I hope that it plants little seeds of curiosity within yourself. I don't have the answers. I'm just a fellow curious person who desires to do as little harm as possible, fails all the time, and wants to create a beautiful life and hold the hard parts without rejecting them, because the hard parts are also a part of this earth school. Today I want to talk and explore and share concepts that I don't have a mastery on explaining with my words, but something that is so deep in me. For the last, I would say 3 years or so, I've been really excited to sit, hold, heal, and integrate my shadow parts. And we could also call that the toxic parts, the rejected parts, all the parts of myself that I never wanted to look at because they're socially unacceptable. They're embarrassing. They're hard. They're humbling. They're a little bit scary. And for a long time, when this was my giveaway when I started doing shadow work, is I noticed myself blaming everyone. Blaming my parents, blaming friends, really blaming lovers, blaming the government, blaming the world. Why is my life so hard? It's because of all of them. And at one point, I just didn't flow with that anymore. To give my power away and blame everyone else wasn't working for me anymore. And I wondered what the common denominator was. And I think actually it was after my breakup with my previous partner before my husband. I think that was the giveaway, because I wanted to blame him. And I did for a good while until I started doing shadow work. And I realized, oh, wait, this is on me. This is on me. What's the common denominator? And by the time I broke up with that partner, I was 39. So I'd been in quite a bit of relationships. And I realized the common denominator was me in all those relationships. I kept kind of blaming them for the same things. But, what's the common denominator? Yeah, me. And then as I told you all last week about my relationship with my husband, I just jumped into that completely, my codependent, addictive self completely wide open, ready to heal my pain with someone else, project all my shadow. And my husband became a beautiful, safe place for me to begin to own my shadow. And the one gift that my husband did give me right off the bat, one that was really hard and that previous partners were unable to give because that's how I wanted it to be. Feeling safe in my body. Many partners before my husband made it very clear that they did not like when I was fatter. My body used to fluctuate a lot lately for the last 3 to 4 years. She's just fat. But before that, she fluctuated a lot. And I picked the partners who would keep me, who wanted a thinner version of me, because that's what I ultimately wanted. Valid. I mean, look at the culture we live in. Any person who wants to feel accepted, which is a human desire to belong, is going to want to feel thin. Or be thin. There's no such thing as feeling thin, in my opinion. So, of course, I picked partners who would police me and reject me unless I fit that mold. Of course I did. Duh. But the thing is, I blame them. And, again, like that was, it was so beautiful because my first partner who broke up with me because he was no longer attracted to me because I gained too much weight, which I was like, oh my gosh, I was like 50 pounds lighter when he broke up with me. I'm 50 pounds heavier than when he told me I was too fat. Oh, precious girl. And that really spiraled me into one of my worst seasons of disordered eating and self-hatred. And I did get very, very thin. The thinnest I'd ever been up in my whole life up until that point. And it was really fun. It was fun to be that thin. And it was also horrible to be that thin because I did it from a place of absolute self-loathing. What was fun about it? I could fit into clothes I never had. I feel like everywhere I went, people praised me for my thinness, but that actually it was a double-edged sword. I liked the praise, yay, but also it reinforced that I'm more lovable when I'm thin. So I hadn't done my shadow work around that yet. But my point is that led me to do the kind of photography I ended up doing, to being so passionate about healing body image. And it took me a long time. I just thought I had to learn how to like how I looked. And the more harder I tried to just quote unquote like how I looked, the harder it seemed to become. I like looking at other bodies. I like looking at nature. I like photographing other bodies in nature. I don't really want to look at mine. And I used to, that confused me for so long. I felt like a hypocrite. And then I felt like, oh, am I dissociating? And then what I have come to today, after all the work I have done, is in fact, I love this body. And when I look in the mirror, I'm like, okay, she's cute. She's not, whatever. It doesn't really matter to me anymore. It just doesn't sway me how I look. It doesn't sway my love, as I have explained before. It does not sway my love. It doesn't matter what I look like because I love this cute little vessel, this precious vessel of ancient intelligence, this body that is the daughter of millions and billions of years of evolution. I don't have to like her to love her. And furthermore, looking into the mirror and not seeing myself as quote unquote beautiful is in fact a prompt to look for my beauty elsewhere. And that's what I've come to the conclusion. It's like, okay, I don't have to look in the mirror and be like, yes, that's beautiful. But what can I do? I can look at other women. Oh, I love looking at other women and I see my beauty in them. And I look at a sunrise like I did this morning. I saw this sunrise this morning walking my dog and I was like, oh, there I am. There I am. So for me, looking in the mirror and not really meh is a prompt to go look for my reflection elsewhere. Go experience my beauty in other women, in men as well, but it's more with women for me personally. In walks, in cuddles with my son, in nature, specifically in nature. Oh, that's where I really see my beauty. But that's why I love the kind of photography I do. It's so easy for me because I see myself. That's where it's almost like every client that I get to photograph, especially when we're out in the desert, it's like, I feel so relieved because they're showing me my beauty. And I get to take gorgeous photos of them, which I hope they like. So my point is, going back to how my husband invited in and helped me heal in the way that he provided a safe space for me to finally feel safe in my bigger body. He loves me if I'm fat, thin. He's so accepting. We have our challenges. There's no way around that. But one thing he did hold space for me, and it allowed me to start bravely exploring my shadow side, bravely exploring how I rejected my fatness. It's not about my partners. It was me rejecting my fatness. Not because I'm fat phobic, which is a word I used to use and I don't use anymore. No, because it was scary. I didn't know. I didn't know how to embrace this body, not need to gaslight myself into liking it. I don't have to like it to love it, but I can have such reverence for her. And I'm grabbing my belly as I'm saying this right now. And my big old belly with my 2 hernias that I'm getting surgically fixed next week. I love her. I love her. So relationships have reflected where I am ready to meet the moment. And my husband, he's given me so much opportunity. Even the challenge I've had with his children and his ex-wife, they've been my biggest teachers in accessing my shadow. But I was finally ready for it at 39 years old to begin the process. I'm 46 now, so I've been working on my shadow work, I guess now. I thought it was only like 3 years, but it's more like 6 years. I've been working on my shadow work for about 6 years. So what I want to start out with is part of my beginning of, and let me even, what does shadow work even mean? I think that is probably a good place to start. And basically the way I interpret it is all the rejected parts. Also, anything that I want to blame on others, realizing that exists within me, and how honest can I be about that within myself. I think also becoming a mother helped me really get curious about my own shadow and how to, because when my son makes mistakes and does horrible shit, as he's going to because he's human just like me, how can I lovingly, but also with accountability, guide him through those moments? Well, I hadn't even done that with myself, so I had to start with myself. How can I guide myself? How can I love this body, even when I don't like her, even when she's fat or thin or sick or in pain? How can I love her, even if I don't like how she looks or how she feels? Oof. How do I love myself through my realizing of my addictions, like codependency and my addiction with food? These are all things I need to hold within myself before I can even begin to be a decent guide for my son. And so the question for me is, how do I get freedom from blaming and from this feeling of like it's not fair? How, and as a deeply sensitive person, you're being told you're too sensitive my whole life, which is accurate, but also there's a dark side to being too sensitive. If we're not aware of our precious sensitivity, or if we have shame or guilt about our sensitivity, which I did for most of my life. I was very sensitive and I felt like a victim to just about everything. And rightly so. I have some pretty intense childhood trauma, and I developed patterns after that trauma that were absolutely horrible, but also like little girl me try to figure out how to deal with it, so it's precious, but it's had a lot of negative impacts in my life, but those negative impacts are exactly what formed all of the wisdom that I have today. I don't like to say everything happens for a reason, and everything does happen for a reason. That saying is a little weird for me, so I think what I prefer to say is everything I experience is part of my earth school. I think I like that better than everything happens for a reason. Because that sounds like, really, I got sexually abused? Like that has a reason? It's tricky. It's tricky with trauma. And instead, I like to think of myself, now that I'm able to wiggle out of my victim way of seeing the world, and instead be like, oh, baby girl, good job. That was so shitty. And look at the alchemy. Maybe it took 30 years, but we have finally alchemized that shit show into nuggets of gold. And actually, it didn't take 30 years. I've been alchemizing that since the beginning, since it started happening. So, holding the shadow, wanting to be free from feeling like a victim, realizing that everything I want to blame on others lives within me. Oh my goodness. Ooh. And I used to be very left-leaning politically. I still am more left. I'm definitely not right leaning, but there's a lot that I don't really identify with the left right now. It's intense for me, and I feel like the left has the shadow that I'm talking about, or at least I did as a lefty person, which is blaming everything on everyone else rather than looking at the own evil within ourselves. And so there's a lot that I don't really align with anymore, politically left. I'm very grateful to vote in America, but there's a lot of shadow in the politically left, but I definitely love my lefties so much. I also love y'all on the right. I love all y'all. Politics are a construct. I love the heartbeat and the blood running through and the way you care for your children. And yeah. So, got a little off track there. But basically what I'm trying to say is freeing myself from feeling like a victim to life, which rightly so. There's good reason for me to have felt that. And then came the moment where I no longer wanted to be that. I am no one's victim. Yeah, life is not fair. That's correct. And truly, the motivation was, yes, I wanted to heal my relationship with my husband, and I wanted to learn how to be with him, even though things were so hard with our families coming together. But also, how do I show my son that life is not fair? This is kind of a fact of life. You know, I used to get so angry when people would comment on my body and ask me if I was pregnant. Be like, I just wish people wouldn't comment on bodies. Instead of, wait a minute, people say silly things. This is part of life. Life is not fair. I have always been in a bigger body that most people think is something's wrong with her. There's nothing wrong with my precious big body. For most of my life, people assume there's something wrong because I'm fat. And yes, I do have an addiction with food, but that's separate. That's separate that I get to work with, and that's mine to alchemize and heal and to be present with. But this body, she's doing amazing, even with my addictions. So my point is, I wanted to figure out, how do I guide my baby boy to know that, yeah, life is not fair. People say things that are going to be hurtful. We cannot control it, but what do we have control over? Feeling safe no matter what people say. Knowing that life isn't fair and there's beautiful alchemy within that. There's opportunity within that. That this isn't a suffering Olympics. All of us on earth suffer in different ways. And it's a lot to hold. That is a lot to alchemize. That is a lot to make sense of. I used to feel really bad in my suffering because I've traveled the world. I've seen people who have life 1,000 times worse than I do. Who am I to complain, I used to say to myself. No. Yes, people do have it worse than me, and we all suffer in our own ways. And here's the kicker. We're all interconnected anyway, so your suffering is my suffering. But how can I tend to my suffering and use the blessings to uplift my spirit, knowing that as I uplift my spirit, as I hold myself tenderly, because we all are interconnected, everyone benefits from that as well. Instead of asking, why is my life so privileged, I say, I'm going to soften and expand into this quiet. The fact that no bombs are outside of my house today. And I'm going to have gratitude for the water that's coming out of my faucet and for the food in my refrigerator and for all my blessings. It'd be very easy to be like, well, I only live in an 800 square foot house. I have no savings. My life is really hard. Yes, it is hard. My suffering is my own particular suffering. And I hold that tenderly. I parent that tenderly. Oh, yeah, that's hard. And we're so blessed. And how can we alchemize these hard parts? How can we use these to turn this into gold? And there's this beautiful parable that I love, the fight of the two wolves. And I feel like this is so important, or at least it is for me. My husband actually first shared this with me when we got together. This idea that we have two wolves that live within us. We have a kind wolf and an evil wolf. All of us do. All of us have the capacity for kindness, and all of us have the capacity for evil. It's there. Which one do you want to feed? And this is how the parable goes. When an old Cherokee grandfather tells his grandson that there are two wolves inside everyone, a good wolf representing kindness, bravery, and love, and a bad wolf representing hatred, greed, and fear. When the grandson asks which wolf wins, the grandfather replies, the one that you feed. This story emphasizes that the qualities and actions we focus on and nurture will ultimately grow stronger and become more dominant in our lives. But this idea that some of us don't have evil, that's incorrect. Some of the most evil people on this planet think that they're actually good people. They do. So for me anyway, instead of focusing on others and telling others how they're doing wrong, I'm going to focus in on myself. How can I be more mindful of the evil wolf within me? And how can I continue to nurture, grow, blossom, nurture, grow, blossom, feed, nourish that good wolf within me? Without the disillusion that evil wolf is going to go away. I feel like a lot of spirituality thinks, we're going to become these good people. Yes, we are. If that's what we nurture, but we also have darkness within us. All of us do. That's just part of being human. That's part of the opportunity here. But if we think that evil wolf is gone, and then we slip into old ways, or we have a bad misfortune in our life, well, what happened? I thought I was good. Why is this happening to me? It's so easy to fall back into victim, which is fine if that's the path. So that's the path. But for me personally, it's like, life is a slippery slope. I do really good. I heal. I transcend. I do things better. I don't yell. I'm able to hold myself accountable better. And I slip into old, shitty, pathetic ways. Because I'm human. And then I place my hand on my heart and feet to the earth. Take a deep breath. There it is again. And then I continue to feed the kind wolf within me, while honoring and respecting that greedy one. There she is. I see you. I honor you. I'm not going to feed you. You got to lay down. I feel like a lot of religious and spiritual and just even the left-leaning party is like, you only can be good. There's no room for anything else. At least that's my interpretation. You might see it differently, feel it differently. And that's not it. My desire is good, but also I'm going to make a crap ton of mistakes. But I also desire to learn from my mistakes, so that's all right. I can guarantee you I'm going to mess up. But I also can guarantee you that I'm going to do my damn best to learn from that. Can you help me? If you don't want to help me, that's fine. I'll learn. But when we help each other, it can go a little faster. So we heal in relationship a lot faster, in my opinion. Like with my husband, learning how to love my body, that he helped me because he provided that. He showed me, you're safe to be fat, you're safe to be sick, you're safe to be however you want to be. Your body is your body. You're safe to be however you are in that body with me. I was like, he created that spaciousness for me to finally arrive there. What a gift. But instead, I feel like currently we live in this world of blame. Well, you're not doing it right. You said it wrong. And that's good. Like that's, I think for me, at least my motto these days, if I'm going to blame someone for something, I first have to recognize it within myself. For example, if I want to blame a partner for being narcissist, I have to recognize my own narcissism. Now, there's a spectrum. There's a spectrum of narcissism. There's a spectrum of absolutely everything. Of all the dark and all the light, there's a spectrum for all of it. All of it. It's kind of like, yeah, it's the wolves. It's the wolves. There's the spectrum. So for me, things that I've gotten to hold, and the way that I hold these hard parts, including my addictions and my depression and the darker parts of my being, is with gentle parenting. Or we could call it self-compassion. Dr. Kristen Neff, if you've never read any of her work, I highly recommend it. She is the researcher of self-compassion. It's just beautiful, her work. The Fierce Self-Compassion, I think, is her more recent book. It's specifically for women. But great work to read. But lately, I've been using the term gentle parenting myself, because that's how I parent my son. And, I listen to gentle parenting podcasts for your kids, and people get really upset because a lot of people don't believe in gentle parenting. They believe in discipline and consequences and I think, yeah, I'm no parenting expert. I'm just learning how to do this. But I do believe in gentle parenting, and I also believe in holding ourselves accountable. But I don't think we need discipline and like violence for that. I don't. Just me personally. Same with myself. I know that, like, at least the way I parent my son, and I'm pretty happy with it up until this point, he's a boy that does stupid shit. But he's also good inside. I think Dr. Becky really engraved that for me with my parenting. You're good inside. Even when we fail on the outside and we do stupid shit on the outside, you're still good on the inside. And we must face the consequences of our behavior. But not from a fearful place, from a like, ugh. Or maybe there is a little bit of fear, but we don't want to live there. We don't want to live in the chronic embarrassment or the chronic fear. It's just like, oh my gosh, that was embarrassing. Holy crap. Okay, that was crappy. That was embarrassing. Jeez Louise. How can I use that in my earth school? How can I say I'm sorry? How can I repair? How can I show up for things that I've damaged without, and this is where being deeply too sensitive is so tricky. How can I own up to the things I've done without self-harm, without thinking, oh, I'm the worst person in the world? No, you're human who does stupid ass shenanigans. It's okay. You're a good human who's going to make mistakes, who's going to react poorly, who sometimes we don't even have control of our reactions sometimes. We always have control over our second response. Often we are not responsible for our initial reaction, like we do a shitty ass thing in traffic, or we snap at our kids, or snap at our husband, or say something we didn't mean. Often we're not in control of that first reaction, just like we're not in control when we go to touch a hot flame and our body reacts. Right? And we are responsible for our second response. So we have a reaction. We notice that. Like, I'll give you an example. I snap at my son. Whoa. I pause. Quickly gentle parent myself. Makes sense you're snapping at him. You're tired, girl. You're tired. You're overstimulated. You're overworked. Pause. Deep breath. Quick little gentle parenting to myself. I'm responsible for my second response. Hey, baby, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to snap. You didn't deserve that. So we're not responsible for our first reaction. We can let ourselves off the hook. Instead of like, why did I say that? What's wrong with me? I'm such a piece of shit. No, you're not responsible for that first reaction. But my loves, you are responsible for the second response. So let's get to it. And for us, very sensitive folks, that can be challenging because we just want to berate ourselves for the first reaction. But that, to me, is like berating ourselves for taking poops. What kind of gross human am I? I just poop every single day. Well, yeah, that's part of being human. Sorry, it is gross. I don't like it either, but that's what there is. Same with our reactions, my love. We must give ourselves a spaciousness of like, oh crap, there it is. And I think a lot of us sensitive people and those of us who are neurodivergent, we want to know why. Why did I do that? Well, a lot of times we're not going to know why. It's just part of being human. But the more important thing is that we pause. And the more we do this, the quicker it becomes. I've been practicing this, like I said, for about 6 years now. So it's a lot quicker for me. When I snap at my son, I immediately recognize that's not me. Gentle parent myself. I don't berate myself. What's wrong with you? You're such a horrible mother. Like, no. You're an exhausted human. You're an exhausted human who just did a shitty thing. It's okay. You're allowed to. But how quick can I tend and respond from my heart, from my highest place, from my more healed place, from the place that holds my darkness, holds that space for my reaction, and instead responds, hey, baby, I'm so sorry. I'm tired. You didn't deserve for me to respond that way. You don't deserve to be spoken to that way. And my son immediately is like, it's okay, Mom. But like to quickly own that, oh my God. Oh, it just brings tears to my eyes. It's so wonderful to gentle parent him that way. And most of all, the way that I get to gentle parent him that way is by gentle parenting myself in those exact moments. I feel like another big one that I see right now in the culture, which is a direct reflection in myself, I see wanting to do change, to create change via shaming people. I see this politically on both sides. And I see it just a normal day life. And that's how I used to talk to myself, in the tone of shame. And what I know for sure as a human on this life, and everything I've witnessed, owning dogs, owning plants, and now being a mother, being in community with other people. I used to have a dance studio. I used to be in community every week, multiple times a week, leading huge dance classes. What I know for sure, nothing thrives in shame. Nothing. Shaming ourselves or shaming each other. Nothing thrives in shame. Feeling shame for a moment and then adjusting, yes, that's where it's like, thank you, shame. Just like anything, fear, embarrassment, all of the harder emotions are important and essential as long as we don't live there chronically. Chronically shaming ourselves leads to illness, physical, emotional, spiritual illness. So how do I free myself from the shame? It's okay to feel it. And that's where the gentle parenting comes in my opinion. It's important that we feel shame. It's good to know right from wrong. It's good to know when we've hurt someone so that we can apologize, even if we didn't mean to. But we must start with how we speak to ourselves. So if I berate myself, you're a piece of shit. Why do you think that? Why did you do that? What good comes from there? Rather than, oh my goodness, yikes. That's not what I meant. Grace, it requires self-grace. And it requires that we nurture and provide and tap into what I like to call Mother Nature's voice, my highest self voice. That is not, I don't always have access to. That's another thing I think in spirituality. It's like this idea that we can just always be our highest self. I love that concept. I don't see, in my personal life, I don't see how that works out because I inevitably slip into my crappy ass human parts, which I feel are essential. That's how I evolve. Touching rock bottom helps me evolve. Not that I want to live there. And that's what I feel like us deeply feeling, us sensitive folks, we tend to want to live there at the rock bottom, at the constant chronic shaming of ourselves, at the constant need to be the victim. And when I say that, like, if that triggers you, I would love if you would like write that down. Why does it trigger me so much to consider myself a victim, or to hear Jade say she doesn't want to be a victim? I used to trigger me. I'm like, I am a victim. Do you know what happened to me? And, it's a lot did happen. And there's good reason. There's nothing wrong with me, but a lot has happened to me. And I'm not a victim to it. But it took a lot of patience and a lot of self-work, a lot of healing with others, with shamans, with relationship. But most of all, in really acknowledging my darkest parts. That's why I feel like I accelerated my healing once. All the shamans and all the healers in my life really have helped, obviously. But where I really accelerated my healing when I started owning my crap ass parts, which I only started to do in this relationship because I felt safe enough to finally do it. So an example of healing my dark parts in my relationship with my husband, which if you didn't listen to last week's episode, I highly recommend it so you can have a little context to this. But I really struggled with my husband's ex-wife and his children's behaviors around me because I felt like they didn't like me. And my story for a while there was, I give them so much. Why aren't they more grateful? I let them live with me. Don't they know? Like, his ex-wife should be grateful that I'm helping her ex-husband, who right before I met him he had just had a PTSD suicidal moment. And I was the savior. I'm helping him. I'm the savior. Why aren't you more grateful? That was my story. And that is deeply shadowed. Deeply. So that was a story until I was finally able to feel safe enough to be like, oh, wait a minute. And the way I did this was through breath work, journaling, by actually tending to it, not just like whatever. I'm the victim. They're the problem. Wait a minute. Actually, these kids are really gorgeous kids. Actually, their mom is a gorgeous mom. What's going on here? And it took a good year or more of journaling and breath work of like, it's not fair. In my breath work, I just like, it's not fair. Let myself throw the tantrum of a 3-year-old. It's not fair. How can they not like me? And I would call them, like I'd allow myself to be full 3-year-old. Poor me. I'm the victim. I got that out of my body over and over and over. Because here's the thing, my loves, it had nothing to do with them. It had absolutely nothing to do with them. The nugget was the shadow and within me, which is, I'm terrified of people not liking me. And just saying that brings tears to my eyes. Because why? Well, baby girl Jade learned very early on the safest place to be is in living around other adults, being close to other adults. They must like me. So I got to do whatever necessary for them to like me. And that worked until it didn't. Because the truth is, people are allowed to not like me. And the work to be done there is me holding my shadow and being, baby girl, gentle parenting myself. Yeah, it's scary when people don't like you, huh? Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. And life is not fair, honey. And you're going to give to those kids as much as you want or not. And you can expect nothing back. That is a very sacred earth school moment. Give without expecting anything in return. If you want to give, okay. Also, how can you feel safe when people don't like you? Okay, that's the work to do here. Because the truth is, I want to hold them in high regard. I don't want to think badly of a mother of 3 children. She's doing her very best raising those 3 babies. So what if she doesn't like me? She's allowed to. In fact, if I were her, I might not like me either. So she is allowed. But instead of being the victim to that situation, I want to think the highest of them because they are good people who have their own work to do, but that's none of my business. What is my business is to tend to myself, realize that my shadow is I have deep fear of not being liked, and that's my work to feel safe when people don't like me. How do I do that? Gentle parenting. Oh, I know you want to feel afraid right now. I know it's super scary. It's super scary when people don't like you. Oh my goodness. I know, honey, I know. It's okay. They're on their journey. And what they need to do with their life has nothing to do with you. I know it's not fair. I know it's not fair. Life isn't fair. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, baby girl. Life isn't fair. And you're a good girl. What do you need? What do you need in this moment? And so what I needed was to gentle my parent myself and have gratitude. Oh, thank you. Without them, I never would have been able to tend and get to the nugget of the nugget that I feel so afraid when people don't like me. They gave me that gift. Huge earth school moment for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, my husband and I had to not live together, and we had to do things that we needed to do that were also hard, but in the end, more earth school moments. So gentle parenting myself also with my addictions. What are my addictions? Why did I even get my addictions? Who knows? But there they are. I'm too sensitive, first of all. And I think I'll get to my addictions in just a moment, but one thing that I really gentle parent myself with, which is pretty dark, and I know it developed after the sexual inappropriate behavior by an adult. I feel like I don't even want to call it sexual abuse. I don't know why I don't like that word abuse. I also don't like the word molestation. I don't like those words. An adult was incredibly evil. Used evil against a child in a sexual manner. That feels more in alignment to me personally. Also, that evil was probably done to that man. And why do I say that? Because I desire to recognize how this evil can be handed down. And I chose to stop it. And I'm very effing proud of that. So, in the moment that the evil was being done in a sexual manner to my child self, a very natural trauma response is to disassociate and to wish we were anywhere but there. And so that was the beginning of wishing I were dead. And I want to say that mindfully because this is something I've struggled with since I was very young, which is part of my depression. It's like, I just wish I wasn't here anymore. But the thing is I'm not actually wishing I were dead. I'm wishing I were anywhere but there. And I let that turn into a pattern because I was a kid and I was doing my very best to make sense of it all, of course. And once I became a parent myself and I witnessed my son crying as a toddler and when he was with me, because I didn't live with his dad. Like, I just want my daddy. And what he really wanted was to be anywhere except there, which was the most painful moment. And the same with me. What I started to implement was I want to be anywhere but here, and that anywhere is dead. And so I'm still working on that today. When I get to a dark place, which usually is exacerbated by exhaustion, by overwhelm, I know I'm not living the life that I really want to live, my soul's life. I wish I lived in a little piece of land with my son and my husband and people I love with goats and bees. I'm not there, but that's okay. I have a lot of reverence, but I also have a lot of grief for the life that I have right now. And so a go-to place for me when I'm overwhelmed and exhausted is, oh, I just wish I were dead. It's like weird. Again, I'm not responsible for that reaction. I did create that pattern within me. Maybe it also has some ancestral tinges in there. It might. It might be from the collective consciousness. Who knows? But it comes very quickly when I'm exhausted and tired and overwhelmed. Oh, I just wish I weren't here. It's a very normal voice in my head. And then I pause and I gentle parent that. I know, baby girl, you're so tired. You're so tired. I know. Sometimes it feels like if we just didn't wake up, it would be so much better. It's so exhausting that feels like the only option. I'm sorry, honey. I'm so sorry. It makes sense you feel that way. But here's the truth. It's important to be here. It's beautiful to be here. And yes, it is painful and overwhelming to be here, but it's also so beautiful. We have so many more days of loving our son and loving people in our life. We have so many more days of gorgeous sunrises and sunset. We have so much art to make still. I know it's hard. I know you'd rather be anywhere else but here. But we are here, my love, and we can feel this pain. I wonder if we can feel it without wishing that we are dead. Can we try that? Okay, let's try that. Yeah, just for today, I'm not feeling so great. But what I know for sure, being 46, is that tomorrow will be different. So today's a rough day, and I feel like I'm at rock bottom. But tomorrow is an opportunity for a new day, my love. Can we breathe through it and just feel this heaviness for today and remember that we're safe? We're safe, honey. It's safe. It's safe. This is how I gentle parent myself. And it takes a lot of effort. Other things I have to gentle parent myself is with my codependency addictions, with my love bombing. What do I mean by that? I'm getting better, but I'm still practicing this one. I overpromise. I overpromise and underdeliver. I used to be people pleasing. I used to get really mad. I'm like, why are people so mad at me? Well, because I overpromise. I overpromise. I'm like, oh, I'll do this. I'll do a free photo shoot for you, and I'll give you a free massage, and yes, and I used to have a very large social media following. People reach out to me all the time wanting something, and I'd say yes, because I wanted to love bomb them, and I wanted them to feel special. And then when the moment came for them to be like, hey, how about that free photo shoot? How about that hike you promised me? How about that time you said we were going to spend together? How about that thing you said you were going to give me? And then I would be like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't. And they'd be mad. And then I would be like, oh, I'd be the victim again. Oh, why are they mad? How dare they be mad at me? I was giving them something. Well, that's classic codependent, my loves. So what is actually going on there? Instead of me blaming people for being upset with me for not getting what I promised them, how about I do the uncomfortable thing and don't overpromise? Even though I want to, I got to pause. That's my codependency, wanting to overextend into promising that I know I cannot deliver, because the amount of energy I have these days is just enough to tend to my son and to the job that I need to do, that I get to do to pay my bills, and any leftover energy I get to spend with my husband. That's all the energy I have for right now in this season of my life. So instead of being mad or feeling like a victim when people are mad at me for not giving them what I promised, the root is I must get clear and be uncomfortable and not overpromise. Yeah, I want to offer that free photo shoot, but the truth is I don't have the energy to give it. And so I'm going to have to disappoint them in the beginning. Be like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I have to say no a lot, which doesn't make me look like a very generous person when I have to say no all the time. And my ego likes it when I'm seen as a generous person. But the fact of the matter is, I am generous, but I'm also not. I also get to protect my energy because I only have very little at this point in my life to give. But do you see the nuance there? How I could be the victim to that, or I could actually look at my shadow side and be like, let's be uncomfortable. We're going to have to be seen as the non-giver. But how can we be kind? Oh, thank you for reaching out. I wish I could offer a free photo shoot, but I am not unable at this time. How can I be gracious and say no? Instead of being the victim who just wants to be seen as a do-gooder. That's a big one for me. I'm still working on it. I still overpromise. Because the thing is, I do want to do it. But my closest friends right now are those who completely give me grace with that. We make plans to hang out, and then I realize I'm so tired and I can't show up. And they love me anyway. I'm so grateful for y'all. But also I try not to overpromise to them. And I try to do beautiful things for them too when I'm able. Which this season is a rough one. This one is a very low energy season. I also know this is not forever. This is just right now. I have so much grace and I gentle parent myself. That's another big one, that I gentle parent myself. Leads perfectly into the biggest gentle parenting I do, which is with my exhaustion. For the last many years now. I'd say probably 3, but definitely the last 2 years. Oh my goodness. Oh, honey, I know you're so tired. Because the thing is, I start telling myself I'm so tired and I start spiraling into fear. Oh no, how am I going to get my son to school? How am I going to go to the grocery store? How am I going to massage my clients? How am I going to do this photo shoot? I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Okay, deep breath. Honey. And sometimes I'll put my hands to my face. This really helps with the gentle parenting. I know you're tired. I know you're tired. Tell me more. Oh, okay. Yeah. You're so afraid you're not going to be able to work. You're not going to be able to do all these things. I know. Baby girl, may I remind you of all the things you've done tired? I may remind you that we've changed our whole lives so we can rest more, and we're not doing that much these days. We're doing just a little bit. I know you're tired and you'd rather just sleep, but we gotta go do this work because we got bills to pay. I'm so proud of you. We also have a lot of evidence that we can do things tired. We do. We have a lot of evidence that we do beautiful work even when we're tired. It's okay. It's safe to be tired and to do the things we need to do, honey. And guess what? After we're done, we can come back and rest. I have nothing because we've changed our whole lives to be able to rest more. Baby girl, well done. It's okay to feel tired. It's safe to feel tired. We can still do and be tired. And we're not dismissing our exhaustion. We'll tend to that. We have space to also tend to that, baby girl. So that's how I gentle parent my exhaustion. And it always changes. But what I really recommend is using gentle words. But if we're only used to speaking to ourselves and like, what's wrong with you? Why are you so tired? What's wrong with you? Why are you overpromising to everybody? What's wrong with you? Why are you mad at kids and an ex-wife of your husband? Like, what's wrong with you? Ugh, no. There's nothing wrong with you, honey. It makes sense you feel the way you do. Let's take some breaths. Place our hands to our face or to our belly or to our chest. It makes sense you feel that way, honey. What do you need? Do you need to do some breath work? Do you need to rage about how unfair life is? Come here, we can do that. We can rage about how unfair life is. Not to anybody. Because we don't want to dump that onto anybody. But we can do it to the journal, because Mother Nature, she can take it all. Let's journal about how unfair life is. Let's breath work about how unfair life is. Let's invite that to move through our body so that we can be responsible for our second response, which is, it's okay. It's okay for people not to like us. It's okay to disappoint people and say no, even when we want to overpromise. It's safe to feel exhausted. I know you think that being dead is better than being here. I know, honey. It's safe to feel overwhelmed and sad. You're safe. It's okay. This will pass. We have proof, 46 years of proof, that we can make it through our darkest days. What if we just surrender and trust that tomorrow is a new day? Good job, honey. Good job. Like, what different energy to gentle parent rather than to self-shame? Same with the gym for me. Working out, especially with these hernias. I'm hoping it's going to be different once these hernias are taken care of next week. But getting to the gym is so hard for me. So my inner toddler wants to be like, man, I don't want to. I'm tired. Me. I know, baby girl. I know. Come on. We're going to go give this a try. I know you're tired. Makes sense you're tired. We're going to go give this a try. Rather than, you lazy piece of poop. What's wrong with you? That's why you're so gross and ugly. You can't even get yourself to the damn gym. What's wrong with you? Like, that voice makes sense. That is what we were raised in. That is the voice currently everywhere. What's wrong with you? And if you want to use that voice, well, then go ahead. That's your right. But for me, I know from parenting my son, from owning many dogs, my dog does not like to get in trouble and to be shamed. I also have to teach him how to be a respectful dog, not poop in the house. Everything that I approach with my clients, everything thrives when I am gentle and kind and honest. Even when I have to be uncomfortable and be seen in ways that I don't want to be seen, like non-generous. I don't give away free photo shoots anymore, or at least in this season. I'm unable to. I don't have the energy for it. So yeah, I might be seen as the non-generous photographer. That's okay. People are allowed to think what they want about me. People are allowed to look at me and ask me if I'm pregnant, or ask me why I'm fat. What's wrong with you? Another way that I'm still learning how to gentle parent myself through my food addiction. And this is I think I definitely have ancestral stuff around my food addiction. And I'm grateful for my food addiction because I'm glad it's not heroin or alcohol, but it is food. And I love food. I love. But gentle parenting myself with my food addiction is first realizing, yeah, I do. I use food like a drug. I want to be very clear. Food itself is innocent. It is not a drug. I get so frustrated when people call food a drug, or especially sugar. Like, sugar, like evil. No, sugar is sacred. Sugar is sacred. How we use sugar, well, that's the question. Can I use sugar like a drug? Yes, ma'am. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I have feverish dreams of donuts. Oh my goodness. But sugar itself is an innocent, precious angel. I mean, life without sugar? No thanks. Honey? Ugh, nectar of the gods? Food is innocent. And I use food like a drug. I use food instead of sitting with hard things, uncomfortable things, bored moments, embarrassing moments, uncertainty. I think that's a big one. I use food when I feel uncertain. Definitely use food when I feel exhausted, which is a lot these days. So gentle parenting myself with food, because the thing is, when I overeat, I feel horrible too, so I don't want to feel that. And I've come a long way, and I still have a long more to go. I still have more to go there, but I'm gentle parenting myself through it. And part of working less and doing less and just covering my minimal bills that I have is so I can tend to feeding myself better And by better, I mean in a way that feels good, cooking for myself, because I've been so busy. I don't have time for that. I'm exhausted. So creating spaciousness to be able to feed specifically, I really desire to feed my son in a way that supports his really strong body, lots of protein. But I want to cook. I want to be able to have the bandwidth to shop for food. And that requires spaciousness for me in this season. How can I feed myself in a way that feels good? Yesterday, I was really craving some sweet pancakes. I've actually not been a big pancake fan my whole life, but recently I've gotten into pancakes, especially these protein pancakes. And yesterday I was like, I just had lunch. I just made myself this gorgeous protein-packed lunch. It was amazing. 25 minutes later, I'm like, I want some of those pancakes. I was like, baby girl, you just had lunch. Why do you want those pancakes? Do you really want those pancakes? I know it'd be really fun, but then I'm going to feel overfull, and that's not so fun. So do you think we could pause maybe on those pancakes? Yeah. All right. We want to make those pancakes because we actually don't want to tend to the work we need to do on the computer. Oh, yes. And so I got myself some liquid IV is my drink of choice in the hot times, in the hot season in Tucson. So I got a liquid IV and I sat down on my computer and I did the work I was trying to avoid. And I didn't eat the pancakes, which I was really happy about because my belly didn't hurt. And the thing is, like, what's wrong with you? You just want to eat. No, of course I want the pancakes. They're so precious. They bring so much pleasure for a moment. And then I feel overfull. And then, And also, it's going to make me avoid this work I really need to get done on my computer. Gentle parenting. So, I hope that in this episode you're able to get curious about your inner two wolves. And gentle parenting, both of them, but nourishing one of them. Let's nourish with gentleness and kindness that wolf within us, while respecting and acknowledging, and nothing's wrong with us for having other wolf. We're human. This is part of Earth's school. It's learning how to not feed the evil wolf, but acknowledging its presence, respecting the presence, and tending to that within ourselves so that we can tend to it in our world, in our community, in our family, with our own children. Thank you for being here. I'd love to know how this episode landed, and I would love if you could take a moment and like this podcast. It would mean so much to me. If you could hop over to Apple Podcast and give me a 5 stars, I would be so grateful. It would really tickle me. Thank you for being in that precious body. Hope you take a deep breath. Hope you are gentle to yourself, hand to heart, feet to earth. It is hard to be here in Earth School. It is. And it's so beautiful. I'm so happy that you are here with me. I'm so happy I'm here with you. Thank you. I'll see you next week. Bye.
I just wanna see your shadow next to mine, sailing over pavement with our 2 wild minds. I like to see the shape you're in from time to time. I just wanna see your shadow next to mine. I just wanna see the same things you can see, understand the meaning on a new degree. Maybe that could happen when you're next to me. I just wanna see the same things you can see. maybe 20 minutes or an hour or two. Baby, you know I just like to talk with you. I just wanna go out